Right, hello everyone. So doing something a bit different at the moment. I am currently doing, you can enjoy my Eeyore mug. I'm currently doing some abstract and doing lots of things with kind of blocky lines. This here is a piece of Archer's rag. It's beautiful paper, very smooth, which you'd think is a little bit odd when I'm working with pastels. I have to admit, don't always use smooth surfaces for pastels because obviously you don't get a lot of layers down, but this sort of work actually works better when you're using minimal layers because then you're not pushed to potentially muddy it. And it also gives the surface gives the pastel the ability to kind of move around a bit more, which for once is something actually I want to do. I'm going to take some of my tea. So, for the colours for this piece, I've been playing with Sarah Renee Clark's colour blocks. I've got both Cube 1 and Cube 2, and I've asked my husband to pick a random number between 1 and 500, and he has given me 247. So this is Cube 1. So that's Cube 1. In here is the first 250 cards, and in Cube 2 is the rest of the 250 cards up to 500. So I'm going to open this. Come on. Right, and here's all these beautiful cards. I'm going to turn it so that I can see the numbers more easily. So at this point we've got number 101 in the front of us. So this is how these cards work. Basically, what you have is she's designed these colour cubes with lots of palettes of beautiful colours that work together based on images. She's collected these images over years, and I know that most of us have these sorts of things anyway, using Pinterest and just random, if you like me, random folders on my computer that are just called inspiration, and I just throw random pictures that I like into it. This kind of saves me having to collect that. Also, I like having something physical like this to be able to actually work with. It's really nice. So what you get is the inspirational image, the main colour palette for 5 colours pulled from the colour palette, and then on the back you've got the hash codes for each colour, and then you've got the actual colours, and then down here you've got the main colours in the middle, and then you've got a light shade and a dark shade version of each one. So in this case we are looking for number 247. Now there's 250 in here, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be the third one from the back. 250, where are we? 249, 248, 246, 245, 247. There it is, right? So this is the colour inspiration that we're going to work for this abstract piece. Number 247. It's a beautiful mountain scene, which looks like dawn. So we've got some pinks and blues and some kind of darky purpley blues, which have obviously come from the sky. We've got the dark blue and blacks, which has come from the rocks and the mountains. And if we turn this over, you've got the names of them here. So salmon pink, blue grey, slate grey, dark blue and black. So I don't have these colours exactly in pastel. Obviously every pastel maker makes different colours, so what I am going to do is I will be adding what I call a base pastel, which is usually a really light colour. In this case probably a grey-white or a white blue, just to kind of complement the palette in this already. So here is our colour palette. So we're going to put the second cube away. Put that on top of there. Right, so we're going to find first tray. We're going to find our salmon pinks. So here's my first tray. Should be fairly easy to find what we're looking for here. Just going to grab a sample piece of paper so we can see the colours as they Arteza cold press watercolour paper. It's got a kind of cream colour to it, so you can see the difference between this and this, but it actually allows us. It has a nice tooth, so kind of loving both of these. I've got in here, it's a mix of, see if I can remember, Snellier, Unison. I've also got some Rembrandt in here as well. So, and some new pastels, which are the more square ones that you can see. So let's see. It's not as light as it looks, is it? See, I think that might be. It's good, but it's a little bit. Might be a little bit off. Got an old tea towel here that I use to clean my fingers in between. I think this one's probably going to be a little too dark. Oh yes, too dark, no chance. What about this one? It's quite a light one. See, that's paler. It looks very similar, but you can see one's slightly more orange than the other. That's still lighter and looking like our best bet. I think this is going to be, this is one of the Rembrandts. Now. That's got a lot more grey in it. You can see the difference there between the three of them. And if I match this up with these, you can see that actually the one with more grey in is probably a closer match. So that leaves us with that one. Now, I have a light grey in amongst all this. I don't know why, but we'll see whether or not. Ooh. Like that. I'll keep that as an option for the base colour, because I think that would really complement these really well. You kind of see them against the pink and the blue. Do worry, it's a little bit warm. I might need a colder colour. Right, so let's find the blues. Let's put this tray away and get the other one out. I still don't have enough pastels, no matter what my husband says. Righty-ho. Blue. Now, I have blues, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have the right blues for the job, if that makes any sense. I'm just going to move this up so you can see a bit better. Oh, you can see I've got some, is it Blue Earth? Called Blue Earth. I'm just having blue everywhere now. Pretty sure they're kind of Blue Earth pastels, these ones. The only one I don't have, which I do want, is some Terry Ludwig or some Diane Townsend, but it's one of those things where I'll get around to it eventually. Right, so that's potential base, but I think I might go more blue, like that. That might be a better mix. Got a little bit of purple in it, this one. See, that's a nice cold. That might work better. Or, so look, this is a blue. Yeah, this is a blue. Let's come on a second. I'm torn. Not so big puppy. So we've got this one, which is lighter again. I think actually, out of all of them, I think that one's going to be our choice. So you three can disappear. You can come back into there. You I can put back up here, although I still don't know why you're up here, but I'll put you back there for the minute. Well, that's where you came from. Right. So we have a base. Right, let's find our blues. So we have super darks in here, which are scarily dark, and I'm kind of looking for more of a blue, black blue, like that. Is that going to be too dark? What do you think? No, that's about right. Right, okay. So that's that one. Black is black. I can pull black from my drawer of blacks. Right, and we want this kind of colour. Now that's going to be a little bit harder to find, I think, just because of the tone of it. I think it's going to be more like this one. See, that's too, I'll pull that from the yellow. See, that's too yellow. So, well, this one, no, it's still too dark. Oh, I hate blue. Everyone says, oh, they love blue. I hate blue. It's just one of those colours where you're just never sure what you're going to get. I like that one. It is lighter, but I do like it. This one is our... See, that's dark again. It is a closer match to that one. I know it's a slate grey. Let me find... Let's pull out my greys a minute. Oh, that's green. Still more greens. That way. My greys. Wondering if actually we are, I know it is a slate grey. I don't really have very many blue greys in here, so this is more of a slate grey, as you can see. But I think it's got too much yellow in. That's closer. If I hold that and that together, it's kind of closer. It's almost like I need that crossed with that. I'm hesitant to have. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. Okay. So, this one's gonna be too. Yeah, that's too yellow. Right. Right, back to the blues. I need kind of this colour, which I don't think is going to be easy from my selection because it kind of sits in the kind of yellowy blues, which is exactly where I didn't really want it. So let's move you two up a minute. Blow the dust off. See what I mean? Kind of along that line. Hold that together. Yeah. Let's put there. Up there. Is this? Oh, this is our darker one. See, too yellow. That's too grey. Yeah, that's too grey. Right. And over here, it's kind of more like a lighter version of this. I don't really have a lighter version of this, do I? Because that's too blue. Let's have a look. As nice as that actually is. Okay, so I think we're going to go with you, base colour, I like you, but you're not in this colour group, and black, which I had a minute ago and then probably put back stupidly. Where are you, black? Probably hiding somewhere. There it is. It's the one pastel that I actually don't have a lot of. Right, let's put the blues and purples go back. Swap you back. Right, so hopefully you can see everything. And pop these out the way. And what we will do Right, well, now that we've got our colours sorted, we can get rid of this because we don't need this anymore. And we are going to bring our colours here. That's our black and our base colour. And then we are going to put this here so that you guys can see it. Just going to put that there. There we go. Right, that's fine. Right, so first things first, I need to mark up basically how far up I want my baseline to be, and then everything there will be half up and half down. Despite my best attempt at making sure it's flat, it's still a wee bit of air under it. So, how high up and down do I want it? I always want it not quite halfway. What useless things have I got lying around that I can use? See, when you're just wandering around, you think, right, how high up do you want this? Let me see, I think this would be too high. So, use this. How high up this piece of paper do I want? So say I want it there. There's its base. So I'm going to mark that there. So that's our baseline there. I'm going to mark it exactly the same on the other side. Now that we've got this. So there's our baseline there. Right. Should have done that. Move the pen. I'm not doing this for the millionth time because that's going to happen an awful lot. So I hope you guys are aware of that because that will happen an awful lot. Right, now what I'm going to do is start with the base layer. Everything else will go on top of this. So this will help the rest of the colour layers kind of shift slightly up and down depending on which way we drag. So I'm literally just going to coat this across the whole paper, just up and down. Always with pastel, you need to think about the direction you're going because that's then shown in the grain of the paper. Now this is really smooth paper, so it's less of a problem, but on something like this where it's quite textured, it's really obvious the direction of your pastel. Now, if you're doing things like grasses and stuff or fur, then it becomes really obvious if you're going against the direction of the rest of the fur that you're actually working on. So try to always use your pastel in the direction that you're trying to make what you're laying down look like. In this case, everything is very up and down, so I won't be doing any diagonals. Oops, like that. So, let's start. See, this looks like quite a dark colour. I will be smoothing the base layer out. I'm literally just going to start with just string. This is such a lovely colour. Because this is unison, it is buttery soft, so it will spread really nicely on this paper. It's a really beautiful colour. It is a bit warm. It has some pink tones to it. And now, for those that want to know, off the top of my head, I have no idea which number this is. I will look through my boxes and see if I can find. I know some people go quite to town over ensuring that they are using, when they use up a colour that, oh, I wonder what that's, managed to get some sort of scratch in there from something, I don't know what. Yeah, they want to buy the same pastel because they've got a favourite colour that they use all the time, whereas actually I like the randomness. I like the randomness of not knowing what the actual colour is, and that if I go to buy it again, or I'll look for something that looks like it's the same. If it is ever slightly different, then I'll work with it. It does give a bit more of an organic look sometimes to my work, but that's less of a problem. This line is going to annoy me, but hey ho. Right. So, unbelievably, time for some finger action. So we're going to just loosely sit, just so that we've got this. I've got anyone wondering about the very low humming noise in the background, it's a Dyson Airblade. I've got big HEPA filters in mine. It helps with pastel dust, and obviously the more pastel dust I'm putting in the air, the more it wants to refresh the air. The only problem being is that when it does that, we end up getting very cold very quickly. So make sure I get up to the tape. I do have a little mini, like a little handheld Dyson, which is also pretty good for things like this, but I'm not working on really big pieces at the moment. Forever finding cat hair, I wonder why that might be, looking at the somewhat sweet and innocent cat that's to the left of me at the moment. She's been told off twice for trying to walk on this already, so she's now been relegated to the floor, which she probably isn't too happy with, but never mind. So off that. Right, so we now have our grey base layer, and I have this, which is the paper. The rest of the remaining half of bits of this paper, I trimmed it earlier just to give myself shorter, a kind of more longer landscape piece to work with. However, I also need it for this. Now what I'm going to do is just going to put a little bit of tape to hold it down. That way. Not so much. Right, do there. Same on the other side. Now, if you're following along and you're doing your own version of this, it really doesn't matter what colours you do. I know most work, obviously, we try to do light to dark in pastel, but actually with this sort of thing, it doesn't actually matter. Obviously, if you're planning to layer, you're going to want to try not to do too much dark and put light over the top of it. I'm going to be using, I'm going to refer to it as a fixative. It's not an official fixative, it's not a pastel fixative. It is indeed, I'm just going to hide the brand, a hair care extra firm hairspray, lasting long hold microfine spray. Unbelievably, this stuff works really well, and it doesn't also darken the pastel, which is really good. So when I put this down, you'll see it goes dark, but when it dries really fast, and back to the colour it was, which is really handy. So I'm going to dump that there. I'll try to make sure that nobody notices what the brand is. Right, and still more cat hair. I don't understand where it all comes from either, really. Right, so this is going to be about different sizes, different shapes will produce different marks and things. So I am going to start with a few darks, I think. So that's already a good size. It's kind of, ignore the pointy bit, it's about this big. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right, find along the line, I just want to go pressing down and then off. probably shouldn't have done it in a diagonal. That's just me. Straighten that out. There we go. Right. And try to make sure that you add enough to the bottom that it's a good starting point. Right. First one down. Right. Now just add these at random. Doesn't matter where, but just think about how far you want to go and how much of each colour you want to put on the page. Obviously loads of darks with a few lights. That would be very similar to this picture, because actually there's a lot more darks than lights on this. And this, unbelievably, is the lightest of the darks going on this. So I could probably afford more of this colour than, say, the other two, which would be nice for accents. So again, just drop it onto this piece and then up. You can see that even though this paper is smooth, it still has a really nice texture to it. And then another little one next to it, and then a long one. So they just look like kind of ribbons, really. Let's do short, medium-ish, I don't know. Let's do really long here. So I want one end slightly longer than the others, I think, on this one. And actually I'm going to do short there. I'm just going to do another longish one here. Right, so that's our slate grey, shall we call it. I think what we'll do is, this is our blue grey, so I'm going to take this is where I get chunks. This is the only problem with unison, is that it can be a tad crumbly sometimes when you're working with it. I like to break most of the unison sticks in half to work with. They're just nicer to work with when they're in half. So it's about the same size as what we're already putting down, which is good. I think when you look at this, it's about 2/3. This is obviously longer. So let's see what we can make with this. I don't like this gap here. So I'm gonna softer, you will get a slightly different effect when it's down. Really dig it in to the corner here, so you can see the difference. You see it's got a lot more blue in it. Unison, but actually this is playing well to what we're doing, is that the unisons are handcrafted, which means this isn't flat. Now I can sand it slightly and it'll give me a flat edge, but actually I'm happier with it not, and then I can get these nicer tones. So I think I want one here. Like lots of skyscrapers in this kind of tone. Nice. in. So this is what we're looking at the moment. So now let's put in our kind of blue colour. Where should we go? Let's just here. Let's try to overlap things slightly, just because it adds. And when colours overlap, you get a different colour. Even on pastels. Now the reason for that is pastels are actually slightly translucent, unbelievably. You think of kind of lino print, and you layer. If you get a roller and you layer one colour over the other, you will actually see the underneath colour, depending on how dark your over colour is. And in this one, you can see here, going along, you can see the grey underneath where I've just gone slightly over. Now in this case, yeah, you can go slightly more on this. So it is picking up some of the grey and dragging it with it. That's exactly kind of what we want. It's adding these additional colours. Just a short little piece here. You can kind of see how this is coming together. Starting to come together really well, so if I want to maybe put some more dark in down here. I'm going to go from top down, I think. Of course. Wonky edge, being a unison. Come on, unison. They roll. It's a beautiful colour. It's really nice. It's got this lovely kind of rich blue to it. Concentrate a lot of the darks at this end and a lot of the lights at that end. So let's have some pinks. Now I don't want bands that big with the pink. I want smaller bands. Now this is a much harder pastel. Being a Rembrandt, they tend to be a lot harder. Funny really, because they're referred to as soft pastels, but actually quite hard. So let's see, I might do it. So there's our first block of pink. Now it's a pretty striking colour, this, isn't it? So I don't really want to put too much in. Yeah, this is going to be a little harder because it's right right at the edge of the paper, so I'm going to have to go sideways on this one to get it to go in. Love how you can see that underneath, that's gorgeous. Right, maybe enough, I think that's enough of the pink. Just bounce some of the dust off. Okay, so there's some more blue there. Probably add a little bit of blue here. Realistically, it's all about keep looking, just keep going, looking more and more and more, seeing where you think you need a particular colour and where you want to see more of that particular colour. Into the lighter colour at this end. I've got a lot more darks at this end, so I do need to bring more darks into this end. We've not used the black. I'm going to use the black slightly differently. I want to use it to add some horizontal lines, and that just kind of gives almost a slight perspective on the painting. You'll see as we go what I mean by that. So make sure the black edge is there. Already there's lots of darks back here. I want to do some thinner ones, but I also, it's really quite hard to do with blocks this size. So let's have a look and see. Of course, every time I touch this, bits are breaking off. Line might do. Actually, I want to show it up here. Okay, the same as at the top. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's just take a too much more on this side. I think realistically this is good. This kind of shows everything that we want to do at this end. So it's everywhere. Unison, deal with it. Right, so we're going to untake this. Tape on, because we need this to do the other side. So we're going to lift this off a second. Now I can see. And the pastel dust. Might think this matters. It doesn't, because actually we're going to be bringing out of these colours down, so it's not really going to matter so much. Now I don't need that piece of paper anymore, so it's not going to matter too much. Right, so I'm going to start again with our darker grey, which is our lightest of the darks, which is our slate grey. I'm just going to follow this line, so we're going to start on the line. Now there should be a very tiny gap. You will see this line defined across the page, and that's deliberate. So just going to do that, and bring that down. And that just represents kind of what we've already got. It's kind of what we want. Now I don't want a complete representation of what is on the top. I do want the bottom to be slightly different. So to do that, I'm not going to I'm going to do different lengths against what was on the top. So this one here, I don't want as long. So I need to find out roughly. Short there. There we go. So that's that one. So you can kind of see where this is going now. So we'll do our next grey one, which is here. Just going to do this slightly longer than the one on top. We have a short one here. There, I'm going to go slightly longer. Got a long one here. Trying to keep that one about the same, I think. And a really intense size one here. Short one here. See, we've got longer ones at this end, shorter one at this end. So we're going to keep that going with what we've got. So pick up this one here and make that as long. So yeah, you should be able to see longer at this end, shorter at that end, lighter at this end, darker at this end. So we're going to use our black, find the end. So you can see we've kind of got a flatter area now where we've been working, so it should be a little bit easier. I'll start with this one. Nothing I hate worse than pastels breaking is cat hairs underneath the paper. Which could be a great texture if it's intentional. However, in this case, it is not. And if you have cats in your studio space like I do, you will not be surprised by any of it. above, because I've made the grey one shorter here, it's shorter. So what I don't want is when I made that, I needed it to come past this one for it to make sense. This end. How far up do we want to go? I want to go a little bit longer. About using smooth paper is you will produce a lot of dust, just because it's not being eaten up by the tooth. So let's continue with our dark. Cat's found a bottle cap, so that should keep her amused for 5 minutes. Yep. Okay, there we go, that'll keep her happy. We'll do this one here. This one here. So yes, I do apologise for the background noise. This one. Right, so that's our next dark. I'm just going to cut down, there's a lot of loose pastel going on, so I'm just going to make sure that Alright, so let's go back to our blue. We've got a fair bit of this going on, so it's not sitting down properly, but you need to turn the pastel slightly. Little shorty just in there. Another one here. Take it too long because of how short this one is. This was quite a chunky one. I think we expanded this one. This one. There we go. We've got a little short one here. One between these two. This together too much. There we go. adds that pop of colour that kind of really needs this pop of colour. So I'm going to start with this. This one went. So there's that one. A little bit longer on one side. That is looking really lovely. So I don't know what you guys can see and what you think. You see lots of blocks going along. You can also see our line, which is our centre point line. And then we have this. Now this is our really dark black. I'm going to take a tiny, tiny piece of this because it's going to cause absolute chaos otherwise. What I want to do is some really striking lines. Now I'm going to use the piece we just using. So I'm going to use a fresh piece of this. I do that and I lay down the next layer, which is going to involve some finer lines from everything, but specifically just move them out the way and give this a quick spray. It's going to upset my fan because it's going to go nuts because it will go, oh, you can spray in the air. Well, I don't care. Good. I do suggest making sure that you either have a fan like I do, which is designed to handle VOCs, or you work in a well ventilated area. Right, that should not take more than a couple of minutes to dry. So you can see in some areas it's already drying really quickly. Now, but even just, you can see that it's lifting some off, but not a huge amount. If I touched that with my fingers earlier, I would have had absolutely tons off, so that's the good thing. That's the fan kicking off behind me, going absolutely nuts. The cat's now hiding somewhere. She doesn't like the spray either, no surprise. So what we're going to add now on top of this is some fine lines, which will just add a little bit more depth to the painting. Obviously it's great having these blocks of colour going from wide and dark to not so wide and lighter, but these lines just add another dimension. So everything at the moment, although they are different sizes and widths, still need a little bit more differentiation between them to be able to just give this the next level. So to do that, we're going to do some really nice thin lines now. I can use pastel pencils to do that, or I can do what I've done here is I've got some of these which now have sharp edges on because I've snapped them. You can create sharp edges on pastels by using an X-Acto knife, or in where I come from here in the UK, generally a Stanley blade used for everything, or a Leatherman. And just snapping off a piece also gives you really that good edge, and I tend to do that where I can, unless either it's really small, it's already really small and you don't want to break it again because it will just crumble, or some of my unison ones, which are the super chunky unison ones, well, they're huge. The sticks are like this, really thick. Snapping it to this level is fine, but any smaller than this and it would just crumble, so I wouldn't recommend it. So just looking at that, you can see it's warped slightly in this corner. That's fine, but other than that, it has pretty much dried, which is great. Let's see if we can scrape that off. Okay, let's add a little bit of weight to that. Just turn it out a little bit. Right. Hate flecks of black. Right. So, how do I want to do this? Well, I want these as straight as possible. Now, I've got a couple of different ways of doing it. Rulers are great, bits of paper are great. I have this, which also has some framing flanges on. This is just a spirit level, but that's also good for getting a straight edge on. I won't be using it in this today. I tend to use that on other pieces, but even this will be fine. Try not to get too much pastel on it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll show you what I mean by doing this. Now, I'd like to have a nice thin dark line in the middle of this one that goes between the two. A little bit more straighter than that. It's hard to do because these aren't straight anyway. So I'm now going to straight line. Add another one amongst this knot. Line here from earlier, which is a defect, so I'm going to try to pick up some of that line with this. So I'm just going to do this and turn this pastel ever so slightly. This just adds another whole dimension to this painting. So I add another one to the middle of this, but just a short one, so it doesn't actually come out of the lines of the boundaries of this, but may well be seen amongst that, like that. Beautiful. Right. I want to add a little one. Yeah, look, these ones. Like that. There we go. Right. I do also want to add some of this pink in lines. Fine enough that actually it just gives us a bit more definition. So we have sprayed this, so we should layer over this fairly well. There we go. So you can see almost straight away that that pink line is there. And another one here, a really small one. Lines. Not really sure it actually needs it, to be honest with you. Quite like it as it is. So actually, I think I'm going to leave this where it is. I think I might pick up some of this. Hide some of that. We've had some interesting issues. Pastels to one side. There we go. Just going to move everything to one side because that's usually a good idea. I'm just going to wipe down the area around my painting, and then we are to have a look and see what it looks like once we take all the tape off. Now on bigger pieces like this I do a lot more work, so this is just a nice easy version. Got a few of these, especially good if you've got writer's block or art block at the moment, just being creative either in a different medium, a different style, just something different. You know, you're used to working with acrylics, do this in pastel, just have a go. The good thing about this, and especially with Sarah's colour cubes, is that you don't need to do much thinking. It's just all about getting it on the paper, then worrying about it afterwards. So see how this comes up, whether or not this is going to come up alright today, or whether or not I'm going to need to get the heat gun on it. Just want to wipe it down a bit more. The only problem with doing tape and having lovely, crisp, clean white edges is that you end up with getting fingerprints all over it, which is not helpful. Right, so obviously when you're pulling tape off, remember that with pastel it will get into the edge of the tape. So when you pull it off you have a collection of pastel dust. Now it's pretty fine on the sides but not so fine on the top and bottom. So when I pull them off I will be blowing as I go, just to make sure that I get the dust away, otherwise it will ruin our nice edge. So let's keep going. Edge off. For those that want to know, this is just painter's masking tape. It's 2 inches wide, so 50 mil. Shush you. and completely recyclable, which is great. Washi tape is great, but sometimes it doesn't stick as well. This is one here, a little gold French bulldogs on, but see, it's shiny and it has this gold paint on it. That's not recyclable. So great, pretty, but not recyclable. I expect there to be a fair bit of dust along this edge here, so we'll see how it goes. Just carefully take this off. Oh. It's amazing how much the tape actually takes dirt off my desk as well, which is great. Yeah, it's definitely dust. This is a bit more stuck at this end. There we go. Right, so that's both sides off. I should probably take the top off before I take the bottom. See where it's darker along the edge? That's where it's built up in pastel. Voila! Okay, so that's the top edge done. Let's do the bottom one. Right, that's the cat out. To make sure that these fingers are really clean, I need to hold this down. I did wonder if it was going to rip slightly on this one, just because this is a wider border. A little bit coming off, that's fine. And voila, there we go. Right, so here is our piece. You can see a lot better here. And I'm going to move this side slightly. And here is our inspiration. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video today, and I will see you all very soon. Ta-ta for now.